Welcome to The Explainer. I want you to think of me as your senior consultant today, because we are tackling the incredibly high stakes of research design. Look, study design literally dictates exactly what you can and cannot conclude. You could have a brilliant hypothesis, but if you test it on a flawed sample, it's practically useless. So today, we're really going to focus on calibrating our AI judgment skills. We'll explore how to use AI as an architectural tool to catch and prevent fatal flaws before you ever collect a single data point. Let's get into it.
There's a great saying, think of design like choreography. The choreography determines what the dance communicates. And honestly, it hits the nail right on the head. If your design is poor, the scientific community is left entirely uncertain about what they're even watching. There is this massive, persistent misconception in research that you can just fix bad design during the analysis phase. You really can't. You can execute a study with perfect, flawless precision, but if your initial blueprint was off, say you totally missed a major confounding variable, your conclusions are going to be weak. You simply cannot statistically engineer your way out of bad choreography.
Okay, here is our coaching checklist for today. We're going to build foolproof research using 6 architectural pillars. 1. The blueprint of research. 2. Mastering factorials and randomization. 3. Designing adaptive trials. 4. Optimizing survey instruments. 5. Defending against validity threats. And finally, 6. Practical implementation constraints.
Section 1. The blueprint of research. AI as your co-architect.
A lot of people assume AI is just for crunching numbers post hoc, at the very end. But its real power, that's acting as a thought partner up front. AI is incredible at helping you systematically map out complex variables, things like constructs, confounds, fidelity, and timing. For instance, if you want to study exercise, well, AI will prompt you to actually operationalize it. What type, what duration, what intensity. But, and this is a big but, this requires really careful human calibration. AI can and will easily hallucinate fake citations or entirely fabricated statistics if you just ask it for historical standards. You have to guide it to rigorously define your specific variables, not let it invent precedents.
Section 2. Mastering factorials and randomization, building structural integrity. A simple A versus B experiment rarely captures the actual complexity of the real world. A factorial design, however, lets you test multiple factors and their interactions all at the exact same time. Take a smoking cessation study, for example. A 2x2 design lets you test counseling versus motivational interviewing, right alongside individual versus group delivery. As your consultant, I highly advise using AI to conceptualize these kinds of structures. It helps you uncover those tricky, interacting variables without blindly blowing up your sample sizes.
Of course, complex designs require complex randomization. If you use simple randomization with a small sample, you run a huge risk of ending up with uneven cell sizes. Instead, you can prompt your AI to generate a stratified flow. You just specify the setup, say 300 participants in a 2-to-1 ratio. Then you identify your strata, like age or gender. The AI generates a perfectly balanced sequence almost instantly. But again, calibrate your judgment here. Always double-check the AI's math. Language models are notorious for sometimes hallucinating logic errors when they're generating data.
Section 3. Designing adaptive trials. Flexibility with rules.
So what is an adaptive trial? Basically, it means modifying your design elements based on interim data. Imagine we're testing a new depression treatment. With AI, you establish adaptation rules right up front. If mild severity patients are responding exceptionally well to a brief intervention early on, the AI helps you design the threshold to keep them exactly there. But if they're struggling, the design seamlessly shifts them over to a standard intervention. It's brilliant because it maximizes both the efficiency of your study and ethical patient care.
But here is my major red flag warning for your team. You can never, ever make adaptation decisions after seeing the data. Doing that introduces study-killing bias. AI's role here is to help you transparently pre-specify all your decision rules, simulate your statistical power, and register your design early, way before a single participant is even enrolled. Absolutely no post-hoc changes. Vague adaptation rules will completely compromise your study's validity.
Section 4. Optimizing survey instruments. Precision measurement.
Imagine reading this on a survey. How often did bad things happen to you as a child? If you put something like this in your instrument, you are literally guaranteeing problematic data. Bad things is dangerously subjective. One respondent might recall some playground teasing, while another recalls severe, life-altering trauma. Ambiguous questions lead to wildly divergent interpretations, and that absolutely ruins your data reliability.
We can actually solve this using AI-assisted cognitive pretesting.
Before you drop money on a human panel, just bead your questions to an AI. It simulates respondent confusion. It'll immediately flag that a phrase like bad things is way too ambiguous and suggests specifying exact events before age 18 instead. It also automatically splits up double-barreled questions and maps out non-exhaustive options so you get mutually exclusive, beautifully balanced responses. It is basically a debugging focus group right at your fingertips.
Section 5. Defending against validity threats. Red teaming with AI.
Internal validity essentially asks, did our treatment actually cause the effect, or was it a confound? If you're studying whether exercise reduces depression, you have to ask yourself, is it really the exercise? Or maybe it's just the sunny weather outside, or the social support of joining a run club. This is exactly where we use AI for red teaming as an active risk management strategy. Feed the AI your hypothesis, and it will brainstorm confounding variables, attrition risks, and expectancy effects for you. Then it goes a step further and generates precise mitigation strategies, like blinding protocols or standardized fidelity checklists, to really fortify your design.
Section 6. Practical Implementation Constraints. Reality Check.
Let's be real for a second. Theoretically optimal designs often fail spectacularly in the real world. A 3x3x3 factorial sounds super impressive on paper until you realize you're juggling 27 completely unmanageable conditions. So here's a quick checklist for evaluating task risk versus AI capability. First, limit your factorials to just 2 or 3 factors. Second, proactively stop participant burnout. Third, keep a very close eye on recruitment feasibility and your costs. And fourth, strictly track your team's actual expertise and fidelity. A simple, well-implemented design always, mathematically, beats a complex, poorly executed one.
So, to sum up our coaching session today, you need to invest heavily in design thinking before collecting a single data point. Standard design shouldn't just be your default simply because they're familiar to you. Instead, calibrate your professional skills by using AI to clarify constructs, simulate your randomizations, cognitively pretest your surveys, and red team your confounds up front. Doing this ensures you have reliable data and replicable implementation from day one. I'll leave you with this thought. Look closely at your specific field of expertise. What is the one major, sneaky confounding in your research area that you would most want to control for? Now imagine throwing that exact challenge at an AI co-architect tomorrow morning. Think about how that could change your next project. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and happy researching.